Hi guys, this is Andrew DVD VHS Reviews here, and today I'm going to show a book review of Brave, and here we go. Long ago, there was a kingdom called Dunbroch, installed in the Scottish Highlands. Though the kingdom was young, the land was ancient, a place for the stories and magic and danger. King Fergus and Queen Eleanor had brought peace to the warring clans of the kingdom. They were also raising their own clan, mischievous triplets, Harris, Buttered, and Hamish, and one teenage princess named Merida. Queen Eleanor had high hopes for Merida and high standards for a princess. She thought a princess should be well around, knowledgeable about her kingdom, and above all perfect in very way. In Queen Eleanor's eyes, Merida had much to learn. Being quite opposite to her mother, Merida lived for her rare days of freedom when she could grab her bow, climb onto her horse, Angus, and spend the day in the forest. Merida was a skilled archer and rarely missed a shot. One day, Merida turned to the castle to find her family at dinner. King Fergus was telling his favorite story how he had fought the monstrous bear Mor'du and lost his leg. Mor'du hadn't been seen since. No one was frightened by the king's story. They'd all heard it 100 times before. The family meal was interrupted when some letters arrived. At the queen's invitation, three neighboring clans would present a suitor to complete for Merida's hand in marriage. Merida was horrified. "I want to through with it," she shouted, and ran from the room. Queen Eleanor followed her. She told Merida a legend about an ancient prince who had broken tradition and split from his three brothers. Their kingdom had fallen to ruin. Legends are lessons, Eleanor told Merida. The ring with truths. Merida was not convinced. "I don't know what to do," Eleanor said to Fergus later. "If only she could try to see that I do this out of love." Meanwhile, Merida was complaining to Angus. "I don't want my life to be over. It was my freedom. I swear, Angus, this isn't going to happen," she vowed. Merida's objections came too late. A few days later, the clan's ship ships sailed into Dunbroch harbor as Eleanor dressed Merida in a formal gown to receive them. I can't move, Merida complained. It's too tight. It's perfect, her mother said smiling, and tried to soothe her. The royal family welcomed the lords, and their clans in the castle's great hall. Lord Macfun, MacGuffin, Lord Mackintosh, and Lord Dingwall, the heads of each clan, stepped forward to present their sons. First was young Mackintosh. With his own sword he vanquished 1,000 foes. His father, Lord Mackintosh, bragged. Young MacGuffin was next. With a bare hands he vanquished 2,000 foes. His father, Lord MacGuffin, boasted. Dingwall was third suitor. He vanquished 10,000 foes single-handedly. His father, Lord Dingwall, bluffed. Moreta was unimpressed by the young lords. She tried to think of a way out of the mirage. Alas, the peace among the clans proved fragile. A few insults were all it took to set the clansmen brawling. Luckily, one withering look from Queen Eleanor was all it took to restore order. The Queen clarified the rules. Only the firstborn of each of the leaders would compete for the hand of a princess. The princess herself would determine the challenge. Firstborn. Marina's eyes lit up as an idea formed in her head. She leaped to her feet, crying, I choose archery. Let the games begin, said the queen. Some competition began on the castle grounds at high noon. Merida watched from the throne as the lord's sons lined up before her. Archers, to your marks, Queen Eleanor declared, and may the lucky arrow find his target. Young MacGuffin took the first shot. They nearly missed the target. Young Mackintosh's shot was slightly better. His attitude, however, was not. Dingwall was the clumsiest of them all. But to everyone's amazement, including himself, he hit the bullseye. Just then, Merida strolled onto the field. I am the firstborn. Descendant of Clan Dunbroch. She she declared, before the stunned crowd, and I'll shooting for my own hand. Merida, I forbid it, the queen cried. Merida ignored her and raised her bow. One by one, Merida fired her arrows at her suitors' guitars. She hit them all dead center, even splitting with Dingwall's arrow right down the middle. Queen Eleanor was furious. You don't know what you've done, the queen told Merida back inside the castle. It was be fathers and sword if it's not set right. You're a beast, Merida replied. I'll never be like you. Angrily, she slashed the family tapestry between the image of her mother. Hurt and angry, Merida fled from the castle on Angus. She was crying too hard to watch her. They were going. Suddenly, Angus lurched to a stop, sending Merida flying. When she got to her feet, she found she was standing inside a ring of giant stones. A mysterious blue light flickered among the stones. It whispered to Merida. Then more blue lights appeared. They seemed to beckon Merida forwards. The lights formed a chain leading deep into the forest, taking hold of Angus's reins. Merida followed the blue lights. They led her to a small cottage in the woods. The cottage belonged to an old woman who presented herself as a wood carver, but it didn't take long for Merida to release. The woman was a witch. Quickly, Merida explained. If I could just change my mom, then my life would be better. The witch told Merida about the prince who he had asked long ago for the strength of 10 men. She showed Merida the ring the prince had given her to cross axes with carved into it. Merida would get a similar spell. The witch set to work, throwing things into the cauldron. When she was done, the witch pulled out a cake and handed it to Merida. Within minutes, Merida and Angus found themselves back at the ring of stones. There was no sign of the witch or her cottage. Back at the castle, Merida offered the cake to her mother. She watched closely as Eleanor took a bite. Now why do we go upstairs to the Lord and put this behind us? Eleanor said. But as they entered the great hall, Eleanor stumbled. Her head is spinning like a top, she said. Was the spell worker? Merida wondered. As she helped the queen upstairs, the lord spotted them. They wanted to know the princess's decisions. Queen Eleanor managed to excuse herself. Upstairs, Merida helped Eleanor into bed. The next thing Merida knew, a huge furry shape was rising up from the sheets. "Mom, you're a bear," Merida explained. The Scaffy witch gave a gammy spell. Hearing this, Eleanor Bear let out an angry roar. Downstairs, King Fergus smelled a bear. Even since Mordu had eaten his leg, the king had hunted down every bear he'd come across. And now there was bear in his castle. King Fergus quickly gathered the clans for a hunt. Merida knew that she and her mother had to get out of the castle and find the witch. Merida's brother created a shadow bear to distract King Fergus and the lords. Merida and Eleanor Baird sneaked out through the kitchen. "I'll be back soon," Merida told the boys. "You yourself to anything you want as a reward." In the forest, Merida and Eleanor Bear found the witch's cottage with a message she'd left behind. They'd change. Look inside meant the bond torn by pride. Soon a thick cloud enveloped them. When it cleared, the cottage was in ruins. Merida and her mother searched for something to turn Eleanor Bear human again, but found nothing. Merida and Eleanor Bear spent the night in the ruins of the witch's cottage. In the morning, they were hungry. Merida caught a fish for breakfast. Like a queen, Eleanor Bear refused to eat it until it was cooked. Before long, thought Eleanor Bear was catching on fish on her own. Soon, Merida and her mother were playing together in the stream. For the first time in a long while, they enjoyed each other's company. Abruptly, Eleanor Bear's eyes turned black and cold. She sniffed at Merida as if she didn't recognize her. Merida screamed, and then slowly and warmth returned to the bear's eyes. "You changed," Merida told her, "like you were a bear on the inside too." Just then a trail of blue wisps led into the forest. "They showed us the way," Merida said. Merida and Eleanor Bear soon came upon an old stone arch with crossed axles carved on it. Like the witch's ring, it led to an ancient rune. "Why did the wisps bring us here?" Merida wondered out loud. As they explored the ruins, Merida fell through a hole. She was in the throne room of the crumbled castle. Spied a table engraved with the pictures of four princes. The table had been split in two. The fourth prince was broken off from the rest. "Split," Merida murmured, "like the tapestry." Suddenly, Merida released that the witch's prince had believed her, and he was the same prince of her mother's legend, the strength of 10 men, she said. Seeing the room was covered in claw marks, the prince became Mordu. At the moment, Mordu returned to his lair. Mordu longed at Merida, but Eleanor Bear put her to safety just in time. The race away from the ruins. Mother and daughter ran until they came to the ring of stones. I know what to do now, Merida said. She had to find the family tapestry and mend the bones torn by pride. Together they returned to the castle and climbed up an old well. Inside the great hall, they found the king, Fergus, the rest of the clans, and the clansmen locked in battle. All because of Merida. Merida looked to her mother for help, but there was nothing Eleanor Bear could do. It was up to Merida to stop the fight. Merida marched into the center of the room. She was just about to agree to marry one of the Lord's sons when from the shadows her mother stopped her. Still hidden in the shadows, Eleanor Bear mimed to Merida what she wanted to say. The queen feels that we should find love in our own time. Merida translated. A grand idea. Young Mackintosh explained. The other lords soon agreed. They too wanted to be able to choose their own fates. Everyone cheered. That settles it, Lord MacGuffin said. Let these lads try to win her heart before they win her hand. When, with the clans out of the way, Merida and her mother hurried upstairs to get the tapestry, but Eleanor started acting more bear-like again. Just then, Fergus entered and saw the bear. No, Merida cried. It's not what you think. But Fergus wouldn't listen. This slashed at the bear, who struck back, knocking him to the ground. The commotion drew the lords and the rest of their clans. Mom, ran! Merida cried. Eleanor Bear bolted away with the men in hot pursuit. Merida tried to explain to her father what happened, but he didn't believe her. He locked her in the tapestry room for her own safety and gave the key to Maudie, the nursemaid. Then he set off to hunt the bear. Merida was desperate to get out. Through the window in the door, she spotted three little bear cubs. They were the triplets. They'd eaten the rest of the magic cake and turned into bears too. Get the key, Merida told the cubs. The triplet cubs chased Maudie. She was so scared that it didn't take long to get the key. Meanwhile, the terrified Eleanor Bear was running from the hunters. She only paused a moment to see if they were gaining on her. Indeed, Fergus and the lords were closing in on her. They picked up Eleanor Bear's tracks and doubled their speed. Freed by the triples, Merida grabbed the tapestry along with a needle and thread. Merida and her brothers climbed onto Angus, raced into the forest to save their mother. As they rode, Merida mended the tapestry while the bear cubs steered ahead of them. A group of wisps gathered. Merida urged Angus forward. She knew the wisps would lead them to her mother. At the moment, Fergus and the lords cornered Eleanor Baird in the ring of stones. They caught her with ropes and tied her down. The king raised his sword to kill the bear. Suddenly, to his surprise, Merida stepped in the front of him. "Are you out of you, my lass?" Fergus explained. Gathering all her strength, she swung her sword and chopped off Fergus's wooden leg. Suddenly, Arthur Bear stepped into the ring. "Mor'du," Merida said with a gasp. The lords ran forward to attack the giant bear. Mor'du swatted them away easily. Then he grabbed King Fergus and tossed him aside too. Mor'du closed in on Merida. Bravely, Merida raised her bow and arrow, but Mor'du loomed over her, going in the kill with a deafening roar. Eleanor Bear threw off the ropes, then bound her. She charged at Mor'du. Eleanor shoved Mor'du away from Merida. After all vicious battle, she pushed Mor'du a giant, a cracked stone. The stone toppled, crushing Mor'du beneath it. But the silence that followed, a signal wisps rose from the fallen stone and flew away. The ancient Princess Sol had joined the other will-o'-the-wisps. Merida dropped the mended tapestry over her mother. But nothing happened. Merida watched as the bear's eyes turned cold and black. "I want you back. I just want you back, Mom," Merida said, throwing her arms around Eleanor Bear's neck. I love you." Merida felt a hand brush her hair. She looked up and saw her mother smiling down at her. When their bond was appeared, the spell had been broken. Eleanor had changed back into the queen. The triplets had turned back into boys. The Wall family was happily together again. Back at the castle, Merida and Eleanor began a new tapestry, one that would forever record the story of the challenge they had faced and conquered together. Later, they watched as the clan sailed for home. Queen Eleanor would never again doubt that Merida's strong free spirit was that of the worthy princess and the future queen of Donbroch. As for Merida, she said, finally come to appreciate her mother's strength and courage. She knew how that she would change a thing about her. The end. Okay, guys, that's it. So, if you like my content, please click like and subscribe. Next is Monsters University. We'll see you next time. Bye.